Hey everyone, welcome back to Decorate with Tip and More. In today's video, I am going to be painting yet again my brick fireplace. In 2017, I painted our original orange brick white, and then 2023, I painted it gray and a roll-on texture paint to create kind of like a dusty gray brick, and it turned out great. As the years gone by, I just kept on looking at it and it just was lacking something. And I know that it's probably lacking the warmth and the coziness because the gray and the white is a cooler tone. So I want to change it and give it a makeover. Why are you painting that brick again? It looks so good. I do like it. If you have a fireplace and you want to paint your brick like I have that tutorial up in my blog. Just let me know and I'll give you the link. But I want, as you know, I want some warmth, coziness. I want some depth to the fireplace. And as much as I think this looks nice, it doesn't provide that. It's a really cool feeling when I look at all the blues and whites. So, you know, I like changes. It's just paint. I can paint it back as easy as I did it, so it doesn't bother me. Let's just get into the makeover and see how it goes. All right, y'all, I'm sitting on the floor getting ready to do my project. And guess what? I forgot to show you my inspiration of what I want my fireplace wall to look like. Silly me. When I start looking at things that I want to change in our home, I don't necessarily just look for things that look like mine. I look for things that grabs me, that I love. Even though I don't have, I still have that base that I can maybe change mine to look like that, but with the products I have. I kept on picking out stone. I love the multicolor, the warmth, the depth, the textures that all the colors of the stones come out when I look at. So I can take each individual brick and paint it like the stones surrounding the fireplaces I like. Even though they're not round and they're stone, I could still get that look with my brick. When it came to my mantle, same thing. I looked at what mantle just stuck out with me. I love the wood look. I love the stucco look. Get the color of the mantle that I love. Hopefully I can achieve that same feeling from my mantle that I get when I look at the Pinterest post that I so much love. All right, now that I've got everything caulked, I've removed all of the trim. So now I'm going to just take some sandpaper and just rough up the painted brick. And then what I want to do is I picked out 4 colors that I think matches the stone of my inspirational piece. Do is take sponges and all of the colors and start sponging them individually on the brick. Take an 80 grit sandpaper, my hand sander, and just roughen up the surface, making sure there's no loose paint. I'm excited to see the colors that I picked out for the fireplace. Now I'm just removing all the dust from sanding. Right, before I get started, I'm using these Dollar Tree nail guard sponges. They have the green scouring pad on one side, but these are really nice to hold and scrub. But I'm going to use them in the opposite way. I'm holding it this way, and I'm going to be painting my brick with the sponge part. But it is real smooth. What I'm doing is tearing holes in mine to make it kind of look like a sea sponge. So I'm just taking and pinching pieces of the sponge out, kind of making it look like Swiss cheese. Not doing the same size holes. Some are deeper, some are little, some are on the edge. And I'm just tearing away to give a little more texture to the paint when I add it onto the brick. So we're going to start with the darker color and then work our way. And I'm going to cheat. I have my inspirational picture up here so I can kind of work with the pattern that I want. Punching on the paint on my little sponge. Then I just pick out the brick that I want that particular color and press it onto the brick. And sometimes I don't reload my sponge. I just press so it's a little bit lighter color. And I make sure I do the side as well. I'm going to stop with the dark color for now. I can always add to it if I need. I didn't add anything to the very top of the hearth. I'm thinking about painting that just a solid color to make it look like a paver floor and not a different color. I think that would just be too busy. Next color we're going to use is the terracotta. I was kind of worried about that, but then when I started sanding and I saw the natural color orange brick come through, I like how that warmed the brick up, so I'm anxious to use that and see how that goes. I'm not going to use a lot of the orange, but I do want a little bit of the color brown to it. Okay, I'm done with the terracotta. I just wanted it a little bit. I'm getting a little worried, guys, but I know it's got to get worse before it gets better. So that's what I'm hoping for. But now I'm going with the antique yellow color. I thought about using the neutral and the yellow just to tone down the harshness of the black and the orange. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just making a mess, is pretty much. But I'm going with all the colors and I'm deepening them from the sponge painting, and I am randomly making circles and not in straight lines just because I want to kind of camouflage all the lines that in the brick. So I'm just going around kind of blending the paints. Once I get all the paint darker and away from the straight lines, I think that it will look more like stone, even though it's brick, I know. Then when I put the white texture paint in, it will tone it all down and then make it look more like what I want. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving more paint, get it darker, blending it all in, doing away with the squares and the rectangles. This is all the sponge, so I'm going to have to redo that. But I want it to be less obvious, I guess you want to say. If you could tell, I want to blend in those lines with the brick as well. And then once I put that roll-on texture, it's going to soften that look, and hopefully this all will look better. But anyway, it does look like a mess. This one is blend in. I'm going to have to blend that one in because I just painted that for y'all. So let me get to work. Okay, so I'm adding some of the texture paint on my paintbrush. And what I'm doing is I'm just dry brushing it on each brick, and it'll just tone down that color, hopefully. And then after I get that on, then I'm taking just a towel and wiping it off as much as I can. If you could tell, this side and the very top, I used the roll-on texture. I painted it on, dry brushed it on, and then wiped it off. And this side right here, I did not, or at the bottom. trim, I'm doing the chalk paint, and then I'll do my wax, and to make it look more like the wood. All right, y'all. I just keep on looking at this, and I'm not 100% happy. I don't love it. And you know what I say, you have to love it. So I'm going to try one more thing before I paint this whole thing and start from scratch again. I'm going to try my dark wax, rub it all over the brick, and see if I like that. My wax and my chalk brush, and I'm going to put it all over, see if that does anything. The corners as well. And we'll just see how that looks. The white rub-on texture just turned me off, I think. So it did warm it up. So I'm going to do that all over, and then I'm going to buff it, and then if I want to keep it, then I'm going to poly it. And here's what it looks like after I applied the wax onto the brick. It made it deeper. It enhanced the warmth of the brick. One good thing about painting, if it's not what you like, just keep on adding layers, keep on adding texture, different colors, and eventually you'll get what you want. On the top of the hearth, I added functional gray and to the shiplap. I added it on just to see if I would like it on the mantle, and I really do. So I'm going to paint the mantle. First, I need to sand it, wipe it down. A lot better, doesn't it? With the functional gray, it warms up that whole wall. So I thought I would change my mirror as well. I painted it black on the outer frame, and then the inner frame where the little window pane is, I stained it. And I think it's going to look really good up on the mantle. In polyurethane in the matte finish, and given my whole entire mantle, brick, and the hearth a coat of polyurethane. All right, I'm done painting with my functional gray, the top of the hearth, the mantle, and the shiplap. I did add back the trim to the hearth. This is what it originally looked like when it had the orange brick, and then I painted them white, painted that trim white. Then I painted it gray with the rolled on textured, and I did that on that trim. This time I sanded it all down, added the chalk paint, and then my wax to get it back to what it was from the beginning. I love how this warms up that space. The blue and the white that was there prior looked nice, don't get me wrong, but it was more of a cool color. It wasn't warm and inviting as much as this. Do I love this? I would love it if it was truly stone fireplace, but since it's brick, I do like it, and am very happy with it. It goes so well with our dark furniture and the hardwood floors, and it does go good with our area rug as well. So I am happy, and I love the change. So here's what it looks like after I added my decorations back to the mantle and hearth. I'm definitely loving the warmth that I see when I look at my mantle. The colors are that of what you would find in natural stone. And also, I love the fact that I did this with paint samples that were under $6. Actually, I found one in the Oops shelf for $2.50. So I love that I achieved this with paint. It's a great way to transform the brick around your fireplace on a budget. All right, y'all, that'll wrap up my makeover today on the fireplace. I hope you enjoyed watching me give my fireplace a new look with paint. Now, I'm not saying this is for the weak, because let me just tell you, it takes a lot of guts to grab your paint and paintbrush and paint something that you don't know how it's going to turn out. I am not afraid with paint because I know that I can make it look somewhat better than what I could have messed up. So I wasn't real timid about that. And I am so happy that I'm not, because a lot of things wouldn't be changed if I was, or I would have to hire it out. And that changes your mind quite often when you have to hire out something and you get the price of the estimate of how much it's going to cost. Now, do I want stone instead of my painted brick? Definitely. I still like how this looks. If I were to add stone to my fireplace, I would have to renovate this whole space, because I only have about 8 to 9 inches of brick showing. So if I replaced it with stone, it's not going to look very pretty, and it's not going to look like my inspirational photos unless I ripped out the mantle and all that. And we're talking a lot of money for just a little bit of stone, when I can do this with $24, I guess. And I already had the functional gray from all of my other projects. So I'm happy with it. I hope you enjoy these types of videos. And if you do, please give me a big thumbs up. Go up to Decorate with Tip and More. Click that follow button if you haven't already. Sprinkle this with your friends so that my projects can go out to more people. I would really appreciate it. Until next time, God bless. See you tomorrow.